Welcome to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast, a show chocked full of strategies for scaling your speaking business. Now here's your host, coach to the industry's superstars, Jane Atkinson.
Well, welcome everyone to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. Today, we have the king of podcasting here, Lee Dumas. Welcome back to the Wealthy Speaker Show.
Jane, I'm fired up to be here. It's going to be a great conversation, so let's rock.
Oh, hey, so for people who have not yet experienced Entrepreneurs on Fire, the name of your podcast, tell everybody what it's about and how often you do it and how many listens you have every month, because it is a good number.
Well, 13 years ago, I decided that I was going to launch the first daily podcast interviewing the world's most successful entrepreneurs. And since then, I've published 4,686 episodes, and it's been a joy getting to interview just amazing entrepreneurs and business owners from around the world for the past 13 years. And we've so far amassed over 165 million listens of the show. So it's definitely got a few listens over the years, and we're going strong, because if there's one thing that I love doing, and that's me personally, It's just talking to cool people.
Yes. And I am grateful to have been on your show a couple of times. Thank you so much for that. You have a very definitive format to your show. Now, I've seen your schedule. I saw an Instagram post that you did, a little story that included your daily schedule. And oh my goodness, you are a man who is on fire. Talk about the format and the structure of the show. It's very formulaic. You clearly understand how to do it in a way that is meaningful for your listeners.
So the first 2,000 episodes of Entrepreneurs on Fire, I asked the same 5 questions. That was the show. That was a show that I created back in 2012. And for the first 2,000 episodes / the first 2,000 days, I asked the same 5 questions, and it just worked. I loved it. You know, it was all about stories and about what was your worst entrepreneurial moment? What was the aha moment that led to the success that you've had today? What's working for you right now? I had a lightning round of some questions. So it was a format that really worked. And then at day 2001, and of course, I've been thinking about it leading up to that. But I said, it's time to change the format. So this is back in around 2018. And what I decided to do was say, hey, I'm going to kind of go away from the same formulaic questions, which, by the way, worked for 2,000 episodes. But I'm going to shift now to focusing on the expertise of the genius of the individuals that I'm interviewing. So no longer are we really going to be telling their stories as much as we used to. Now we're going to be talking about their areas of expertise, their zone of fire, as I like to call it, and having them share that knowledge with my listeners, which are entrepreneurs, small business owners, with the goal that everybody's going to leave my episodes with actionable advice, with valuable information that they can apply to their life, to their business, whether it be health, wellness, business, education, sports. I mean, I bring in a variety of topics, but at the end of the day, I want that guest to be sharing what they're great at. And so I've kind of shifted that now for really the past 7.5 years. So it's been a fun transition. I'm now, I've done more of these new shows than I did of the old show. I'm now about 2,600 episodes into the new, style. So it's not so new anymore. It's been fun. I've really enjoyed that new kind of fresh take. And hey, who knows? Maybe at episode 5,000, I shift it up again and I make a little shift and I do X, Y, or Z. But I'm pretty happy with where I'm at right now, but that's kind of the formulaic structure that we have. And you've been on the show multiple times. And essentially, I say to my guest, what's a suggested talking points, or I should say a focal point of the episode, because what are you a genius in? And then I get that feedback from the potential guest and we kind of craft a title out of that. And then I also have the guest share typically between 4 to 6 bullet points that they know would make for a good interview flow. And then my team, we take that and we turn it into a full interview flow. So it's really is a formulaic system that we have down that gets the most out of each interview.
What is something surprising that has happened in the last 4,600 episodes? What's something that just was completely out of left field? I know you're recording, so it's not like it's live on the air and you have to do something on the fly, but has something really weird ever happened while you were recording a show? You and I just
Uh,
about our dogs, our dog
yeah.
all the time, and we just roll with it. Whatever, the dog barks. Okay, go.
It's part of the show. It's part of
Yeah,
the show.
yeah.
Not really, to be honest. I mean, nothing that you would expect, that you wouldn't be, think that could happen. Like you said, a dog barking. I now have an 18-month-old son. His name's
Oh,
Bo Arthur Dumas right there in
oh
the
my gosh,
house.
he is adorable.
He's too much. I'm just gonna say he's too much. And so, but I bring that up because absolutely he'll be, crying, during his nap time, during an interview, and we'll just kind of roll the punches.
Yeah.
His full name's Bo Arthur Dumas, and his initials are Bad. So I'm just like, he's just
Uh,
being bad. Bad's being bad. I mean, that's how he rolls. So, we have some fun. Of course, you're interviewing people in New York City, and there's fire alarms and police
mm,
sirens and ambulances going off every 10 seconds. Somebody that I was interviewing, like a bird flew into their window while we were interviewing, which was pretty
oh,
dramatic.
oh, yeah,
Um,
that is dramatic because that can be a horrible sound.
Horrible. And it
Horrible.
was, and
Oh,
it's just not pretty.
poor
Um,
bird.
so, so things like that have happened for sure. And, you just
Mm,
kind of roll the punches because, we're not looking to be like CNN, like nighttime television, all buttoned up with a tie on and, the Walter
perfect.
Cronkite, like just leaning in and being serious. We want to have fun. We want it to be a conversation. We want people to feel like they're in their room with us, just kind of hanging out. Like I love when people come up to me at conferences and they're like, John, like I just kind of feel like I know you. Like I feel like you're a friend. And I'm like, I know what you're saying because I feel that way about the podcast hosts that I listen to constantly as well. Like we were talking about the fact that we both have, doodles. I have a golden doodle, you have a labradoodle, and they're both pretty big dogs. Your dog looks like he's at least 75 pounds
He's
or
70. Yeah.
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 They need exercise. So I'm actually out 3 miles every morning and three
Wow.
miles every evening. This dog gets 6 miles a day. That's my mile. So his miles is like between 10 to 12 because he's
Yeah.
just zipping all over the place. And I'm listening to podcasts and I'm taking in the beautiful weather of Puerto Rico. And so, you've just got to kind of, just understand that, hey, when people are listening to you, they're going to get to know you. So just be yourself.
Yeah, be yourself. That's great advice. That's great advice. Now, we have some listeners whose primary focus would be speaking, but they want to begin a podcast for various reasons. And some of them are likely thinking about monetizing their podcast. So, you have created a seven-figure business out of your podcast. Talk a little bit about where the revenue streams come from within.
So my business has been rolling for 13 years now, and you'll definitely notice over the years that you have different revenue streams come up and then kind of leave and come up and leave. And that's a lot of it's due by choice. Some of it's
Mhm.
due by circumstance. You kind of roll with the punches and you kind of figure out what's working and what's not. And you just kind of adjust from there. One cool thing that we've actually been doing since 2013 is we've been publishing monthly income reports where we
Yeah.
share all the details of the revenue that comes in. We share, a legal tip from our lawyer. Our lawyer comes on, gives a legal tip for entrepreneurs. Our accountant comes on, gives a tax tip. And we just try to make it like each report very valuable. But within that report, it's showing all of our line items, all the revenue that we're making, and all of the money that we're spending and all the different things in between. So you can really get a great snapshot of our business from these reports and like how it's transitioned over the years. I can tell you right now, a huge part of our revenue is sponsorships. I mean, we have a quite a large audience. And so because of that, like we make a significant amount of money on a monthly basis from sponsors. I also have courses like Podcasters Paradise, which is the biggest podcasting course and community in the world, where we teach people how to create, grow, and monetize their own podcast. I have a ton of books. I know that, we'll be getting into books a little bit later, but I wrote my own traditionally published book back in 2021. I've published 4 journals over the years, starting in
Yes.
2016, 2017, 2019, and 2021. So I've been writing books, for a very long time as well, and really been enjoying that process. Affiliate income is a huge revenue stream for us. It was massive in years past. It's kind of become less so now, but it's looking like it's now kind of becoming a little bit bigger as we are moving into even a new kind of leg of our business as we're entering again our 14th year um, running this show. So affiliate income is definitely a big thing that I can see becoming even bigger going forward. And we love it. We've done, I do one-on-one coaching. I've run masterminds in the past that I called Fire Nation Elite. So as an entrepreneur, like, you can just do so many cool things with physical products, with software, coaching, mastermind, books, courses. And I've tried it all. We've done it all. And the future could see us doing a lot of different things as well. I mean, you bring the fact that artificial intelligence and AI is just taking off to incredible levels. Let's see how we can work that into the equation.
Yeah, that's really cool. Now, I'm thinking that your market is ripe to come to you in Puerto Rico for a beautiful sunny holiday in the wintertime and maybe learn something from you while they're there. Have you ever brought audiences to you?
Yes, we've done that multiple times. I've thrown multiple 3-day micro events of bringing 10 people down for the weekends. I've
Oh,
done a little bit larger events where we've had between 40 and 50 people come down at one time and stay where in the community that we're staying here in Puerto Rico. It's called Palmas del Mar, and have a great time for that as well. I've been very fortunate too, where I have a lot of friends in the industry who don't live in Puerto Rico, but they still throw events and meetups in Puerto Rico because it's a great
mm,
place for the reason that you just shared. During the winter, it's summer down here and it's perfect. The weather is amazing during the winter. And so I've spoken at a lot of those events. I actually was just speaking at an event recently up at the Conquistador, which is like a really cool 5-star resort here in Puerto Rico, and just having fun doing it. So a lot of good ideas like that.
oh, beautiful. Hey, if somebody wanted to see that income chart and the legal tips and the tax tips, where should they go? Where's the best place to go and consume your podcast and the show notes from the podcast?
So
Or
our headquarters
course.
is eofire.com. So
Mm,
eofire.com. And if you
mhm.
go to eofire.com/income, you'll be taken to all of our income reports. There's over 130 now.
Oh, and you're so brave to just bear it all like that. I think that is something that most people would not feel completely comfortable doing.
Well, thank you. The word brave, I receive that. So thank you for that. I also look at it more as like transparent and just being open, honest, and genuine, because I think for a lot of people getting into the online marketing industry, podcasting, speaking online, digital marketing, whatever you want to call, the space, they're just like, well, people can say anything. Oh, I had a 6-figure launch. I had a 7-figure product. I did this, I did that. And it's like, okay, you did because you say you did. And we're just supposed to trust you on that. And I'm not saying you shouldn't just trust people, but I'm kind of pretty big on verify and then trust. Like, why not? So I just knew that when I started generating significant revenue in the industry, like, I actually wanted to be like that beacon of transparency where I was saying, I'm not just going to say that we had a 6-figure month, but I'm going to show you every line item of how we got there. I'm going to bring my lawyer and my accountant on to validate that and also add value to the report as well. And I'm also going to show you, by the way, in that same report, mistakes that we made, money that we lost, launches that we had that flopped, because all of those things are happening as well. So we're showing our successes so that those
Mhm.
can be emulated and maybe inspire people, but we're showing our failures so that maybe those can be avoided, or people can see where we went wrong and improve upon it for themselves and do something better.
Mm, so good. You have talked about courses and coaching, live events. Talk about when you mentioned just now that you have had things that didn't go so successfully. Lots of people want to do courses, and clearly you have that down to a science. What was something that you've done that you unfortunately learned a big lesson around.
I would never use the word unfortunately. I would always say
Oh, okay.
fortunately,
Yeah.
because I think every
Fortunately,
failure's
a big
I think
lesson.
every failure is amazing. I think every failure is a great opportunity to say, wow, that's not working. Let me just save more time by not continuing to go down that road. Like I'm all
Yes.
about failing fast and learning from that and being very fortunate that I am failing fast and not failing a slow, long, painful, dredge. And so to me, like as long as, I'm learning from that failure, it's always a fortunate situation. And one that comes to mind is the first thing that I ever did. And that's scary, I will admit, because it's the first thing you ever did. You're like, well, is this ever going to work? But, I came up with this, what I thought was a great idea. It was called Pod Platform, where I won't get into the super nitty gritty details, but essentially the overview is that like I was going to host people's podcasts for them. I was going to edit their shows. I was going to find sponsors for them. I was going to do the transcripts for it. And by the way, that's a pretty lucrative business in 2025 because you have just podcasts that are making a ton of money and there's teams and it's a huge industry. But in 2012, when I launched this,
We're ahead of the game.
I was way ahead of the game. I was way too far ahead of the game. It was a great idea, just wrong timing, bad timing. I was a pioneer, out in Oregon before the Oregon Trail was even created. Like, forget
Yeah.
about it. Like, it just wasn't the right timing. And so that just flopped. It completely flopped. But it made me kind of step back and say, well, the audience obviously doesn't want that. What would they want? And that's what actually, honestly, where the like a phoenix rising from the ashes is where Podcasters Paradise came from, because I took all the mistakes that I made with Pod Platform and I turned it into Podcasters Paradise, which has now, been a multi 7-figure, success over really the past 10 years now. It's been running, incredibly strong. We're still bringing people in the door. It's still a great community, and it's just been a really fun ride. And that came from a complete failure.
Love it. Love it. So I want to go back to that post that I saw with your crazy daily calendar. So you are doing a daily podcast that's 365 days a year.
Correct.
And therefore, you need to interview a certain number of people every day. Talk a little bit about how you schedule your time. You're so disciplined. Um, what does that look like?
I have so much more free time than anybody would ever guess or assume, not knowing my
Okay.
actual schedule. I've actually 7 months ago, I launched a second 7-day a week show, 365 days per year, because honestly, I was a little bit bored.
Oh
I
my
was looking
goodness.
for something to fill my time a little bit more, because I figured out long ago a phrase that I've coined, which is batching like a baller. And that's what I
Mm,
do. I batch like a baller. So that when you saw my calendar, what you saw was one day of my calendar. Every single Thursday, I have 7 back-to-back interviews lined up for Entrepreneurs on Fire from here until eternity. Like I just have 7 interviews every Thursday.
and the length of each of those interviews is how long? Remind everybody.
20 minutes, give or take.
Amen.
So typically 17 to
20.
23 minutes is where most interviews fall in.
Okay.
So each one of those interviews has a 40-minute block so that I, have a little pre-chat time with the individual. We have plenty of time for the interview and then a little post-chat time. And then I move on to the next interview. And after 7 40-minute blocks, I'm done for the week, not just the day. I'm done for the week. And so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like my calendars are often empty. Like, I mean, nothing is on them. I mean, obviously I schedule things like every now and then, like one day per month, I do what's called OPP, other people's podcasts. I'll jump
Yes.
on their shows. Now, this actually is not one of those days because you're kind of special. So I'm,
Oh,
I'm on your show on one of my very rare
on
off
a
days.
non-OPP day. I
You're a
love
non-OPP day because what I do, because I get a lot of requests to be on other people's shows. So I have one day per month where I have a 4-hour block and I offer 15-minute interview slots. And if people can't fit me into that 15-minute slot for their show, then I do say, I'm sorry, but that's what I can do because that's how I serve the most people in the best way possible. And I always say, listen, if you can't get a good interview done in 15 minutes, you're not a good host, is kind of what I basically say. I say, skip the about me question and you can record that afterwards during your own intro. and we can just get right into the meat and potatoes. And so I do that 1 day per month. And of course, I'm doing other things because I like staying busy. I mean, I'm very active socially. I'm very active with, my son and my wife, and we're doing this and that. But at the end of the day, like, I got time. So I started a second 7 day a week show that's on a completely different topic. This is on a business called MicroStrategy. The person who runs the company's name is Michael Saylor. I just fell in love with the company and the founder of that company. I believe that this is the next like a generational wealth opportunity of our lifetime. I can
And
definitely.
what's the name of the podcast?
So the name of the podcast is MSTR Today because MSTR is the ticker symbol of the company, MSTR. And it's on
Okay.
YouTube. The show's actually crushing it. I'm getting like 9 or 10,000 views every single day. It's a 24-hour news of the last 24 hours of that company. But Bitcoin's exploding right now, and this company is a Bitcoin leveraged play, so that's why it's exploding right now. And it'll kind of go up and down with the market, but I enjoy it. Like I enjoy the research and the conversation. And at 7 a.m. every morning, as soon as I'm done walking my dog, I'm sitting at this computer producing a 15-minute episode about the last 24 hours of MSTR.
That is so interesting. And it's got you fired up, I can
I'm
tell.
excited. It's
Yeah.
the first time that I've really leveraged YouTube. Like YouTube's amazing, not so
Mhm.
much for interview shows, but more so for like topic-based shows that people are passionate about that topic. If it's Pokemon, if it's a sports team, if it's a history, something like if you can find a niche that like people are cultishly in love with and passionate about
Mm.
and dominate that, you will get like a great following. Like every one of my videos gets hundreds of comments. 98% of them are positive and 2% of them are just haters. Like they're hating what I'm putting out there. And
Mhm.
power to them. Like keep wasting your time watching my content. That's fine with
Yeah.
me. Uh, and
I'll
it
cash the check.
seriously. And yeah, and I've turned that show into a 5-figure show in 7 months. Like I have 2 full-time sponsors. I'm getting 3 to 4K per month from Google AdSense from the amount of views that I'm getting. Um, I've had affiliate deals, speaker fees. Like it's been a really cool experience.
Well, I just want to say to you, JLD, congratulations on another hit. And I'm going to check it out. That beautiful child that you have. Oh my goodness. He is stunning. And I'm so happy to hear that you are just living la vida loca in Puerto Rico.
It's been 9 years
Congrats.
now. We moved
Yeah.
here in
I remember when you
2016.
moved.
Yeah.
That was
Because
a
we
big
were in San
deal.
Diego. We love San Diego. My wife's from San Diego. We could definitely someday I could see us moving back to San Diego.
Yeah.
But we moved down here for the generational wealth opportunity of not paying 51% of our money in taxes, of our earnings and taxes,
Mm.
and instead paying no federal tax, no state tax, just a flat 4% total tax on everything that we make. And by the way, 0% capital gains on all of our investments, stocks, crypto, real estate. I just sold a beautiful investment property that we bought years ago on the beach, for a hefty, hefty profit. And I'll be paying 0% capital gains on that because that's Puerto Rico. That's the opportunity that's down here. Now, there's cons to living in
Yeah.
Puerto Rico, of course. There's pros and cons to everything in life.
Hurricanes.
Hurricanes, oppressive heat during the summer. The infrastructure is different. There's the lack of convenience that you get from most, major
Yeah.
cities in the United States. So there's pros and cons, 100%.
Yeah.
But we made the decision to come down here, check it out, and it's been 9 years now.
Mm. I remember that very well that you were
Wow,
going.
good memory.
And what do you do when, because the power used to go off quite a bit, the
Yeah,
electricity, is
yeah,
that
we still get power outages every now and then. Not quite as bad. It's improved a little bit, but it's still
they
a
have lots of backup generators and things like that in place, right?
it's a shaky power grid. Many years ago, we got 41 solar panels and 3 Tesla power walls on the house. So we're essentially off grid. When the power goes out, we don't even notice most of the time because it
Right.
doesn't go out for like days. Typically it goes out for like hours. And so
Yes.
we never even like notice the flicker. We also have a backup generator for the whole house as well. So we're pretty set up, but you know, those people that aren't, it's incredibly frustrating. And I
Mhm.
get it. I totally get it.
Yeah. Well, I wish you the best and thank you for coming back on the show. You have dropped some brilliant knowledge here for our wealthy speaker listeners today. John Lee Dumas, if people want to, say, buy your books or be in touch with you, how would you prefer that they do that?
Well, I did write a book 4 years ago. It's my only traditionally published book that I've ever done with HarperCollins. It's called The Common Path to Uncommon Success. The book was written to be evergreen, so it's just as valuable now as it was back then because it's all just time honored principles that I learned from the over 4,000 interviews that I've done with successful entrepreneurs. And in fact, the tagline is the 17 steps to financial freedom and fulfillment. So if
Mm.
that's interesting, check it out on Amazon, both Audible and regular, the common path to uncommon success. And I've also written a ton of journals, the Freedom Journal, the Mastery Journal, the Podcast Journal, which is just all about kind of helping you become a better disciplined, goal-oriented person. And you can find out all that information at eofire.com.
I love it. Thank you so much for being with us. And with that, we're going to say, see you soon, wealthy speakers. Bye for now, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. If you need help scaling your speaking business, head over to speakerlauncher.com and chat with us.